I want to start today's deep dive with a bit of a cognitive dissonance test.
Oh, okay. A test. I'm in. What have you got?
Okay, so I want you to picture, in your mind's eye, the quintessential 1970s soft rock songwriter.
Right.
You know the archetype I'm talking about.
I do. I'm picturing maybe a velvet tuxedo jacket.
Yeah.
Sitting at a grand piano. Definitely.
Yes. Bathed in soft lighting. And he's singing lyrics that are so tender, so vulnerable.
Heartbreakingly beautiful.
So heartbreakingly beautiful that they became the literal soundtrack for a generation of weddings.
Okay, I am with you. I'm picturing a very sensitive soul, someone who probably wears their heart on their sleeve and sings a lot about, rainy days and Mondays.
Exactly. Now, I want you to freeze that image. Hold it right there.
Got it, frozen.
And right next to it, I want you to picture a villain in a Batman cartoon.
Okay, that's a sharp turn.
Or a shady, cigar-chomping arms dealer in an Edgar Wright action movie.
Right?
Or, and I promise I'm not making this up, an orangutan in Planet of the Apes wearing a futuristic jumpsuit.
It feels like we are aggressively flipping channels between a romance movie, a gritty crime thriller, and, like, a Saturday morning cartoon.
We are not done yet. Now, picture that same person standing on stage at the Grammys in 2014.
Okay.
Flanked by Daft Punk, the French robots in chrome helmets, accepting the award for Album of the Year.
And the punchline, which is, it is genuinely hard to believe, is that we are talking about one single human being.
We are talking about one single, slightly shorter than average, absolutely ubiquitous human being. Today, we are diving deep into the life, the crash, and the resurrection of Paul Williams.
This is such a rich topic because Paul Williams isn't just a celebrity, he's a paradox. He really is.
Yeah.
If you look at the source stack we've gone through, the comprehensive biography, the discography that spans decades, the film archives, you realize he is woven into the fabric of pop culture in a way that just doesn't make sense on paper.
It really doesn't.
He's the Zelig of the music industry. He's just everywhere.
That is the mission for this deep dive. We need to figure out how the same guy who wrote We've Only Just Begun, which is pure innocent sentiment,
Purist,
ended up being Little Enos in Smokey and the Bandit and a counselor for recovering addicts.
Yeah.
How does that Venn diagram exist? How do you go from the Muppets to Phantom of the Paradise?
It's a Venn diagram of one. And I think the key insight we're going to uncover today is about this tension between adaptability and authenticity. Williams managed to be a chameleon, changing from folk to disco to electronic, while maintaining this incredibly raw, authentic, emotional core.
Right.
He's a guy who wore masks literally and figuratively, to tell the truth.
Let's peel back the first mask. We have to start at the beginning in Omaha, Nebraska, 1940. And looking at his family tree, I honestly think there must have been something in the water at the Williams household because the talent concentration it's statistically improbable.
It's a family of high-functioning outliers, isn't it? Usually when we do these deep dives on artists, you see a family of musicians or maybe a family of actors. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right. But the Williams boys covered the entire spectrum of human endeavor. It's wild. You have Paul, the emotional architect, born in 1940.
Yep.
You have his brother, Mentor Williams, who is also a massive songwriter in his own right.
Oh, Mentor's a legend, too. He wrote Drift Away for Dobie Gray.
Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul.
That song is a standard, an absolute classic. So, okay, two brothers, both successful songwriters. That tracks. That makes sense.
It does. But then you have the third brother, John J. Williams.
And this is where it goes off the rails.
This is my favorite fact in the entire stack. While Paul is out in Los Angeles trying to figure out rhymes for rainbow and love, John is literally a rocket scientist for NASA.
And not just like an employee, not just a guy with a pocket protector.
No.
John J. Williams was deeply involved in the Mercury and Apollo programs.
He won the NASA Distinguished Service Medal in 1969.
That is the highest honor NASA can bestow on a civilian.
So in 1969, think about this, one brother is helping put humanity on the moon using physics and engineering.
Right, the hardest of hard sciences.
And the other is in Los Angeles trying to put humanity in touch with their feelings using melody and lyrics.
It's the ultimate right brain versus left brain family. You've got the emotional engineer versus the aerospace engineer.
It's perfect.
And strangely, they both dealt with space in a way, didn't they? John dealt with outer space, and Paul, as we'll see, became a master of inner space, the internal landscape of loneliness and hope.
But Paul didn't launch like a rocket. His trajectory was a bit more Well, meandering.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start out trying to be the next Bob Dylan or the next Cole Porter. He actually started in the comedy scene.
That's a crucial detail for understanding his later career, especially the acting. It really is. He didn't start as a brooding poet in a coffee shop. He started as a guy trying to make people laugh. He was working with a comedian named Biff Rose in L.A.
Right.
They were doing a sort of comedy/folk routine.
And out of that partnership came a song called Fill Your Heart.
Right. And Fill Your Heart has a very vaudeville, almost theatrical vibe to it. It's jaunty.
Yes.
It's not the soft rock he's famous for yet. But it caught the ear of arguably the most eclectic musician of the time, Tiny Tim.
The ukulele, falsetto, tiptoe through the tulips, Tiny Tim.
The very same. Tiny Tim covered it as a B-side. Now, getting a song cut by Tiny Tim is a win, for sure, but it doesn't exactly scream serious songwriter.
No, not really.
But here is the first pivot point in Williams' career. That same song found its way to David Bowie.
The Thin White Duke himself.
Bowie recorded a version of Fill Your Heart for his album Hunky Dory in 1971.
Wow.
So think about that range. Tiny Tim to David Bowie. That is the Paul Williams spectrum in a nutshell.
It is.
The absurd and the artistic, the comedy and the glam rock, all in one song.
But while having Bowie record your song is incredible street cred, it wasn't the thing that paid the bills or made him a household name.
Not yet.
The real ignition point was a partnership. Biff Rose introduced Williams to A&M Records, and there he met a guy named Roger Nichols.
Roger Nichols.
Yeah.
If Paul Williams was the heart, Nichols was the structure.
Yeah.
Nichols was a melody genius, a technical wizard with chord progressions, and together they essentially architected the sound of 70s soft rock.
They really did.
But the story of their breakout hit is my favorite business case study in music history. It proves that inspiration can come from the most boring places imaginable.
You're talking about the bank commercial.
I'm talking about the bank commercial. It's 1970. Williams and Nichols are working songwriters, meaning they are hustling, they're taking any gig they can get,
Right.
and they get a gig to write a jingle for the Crocker National Bank.
Crocker National Bank, which, for our younger listeners, is not exactly a sexy brand. It's a regional bank. It's about checking accounts and mortgages.
It is the least rock and roll thing you can imagine. And the brief was simple but specific. The commercial visuals featured a young couple, casually dressed, getting married and starting their life.
Mm-hmm.
It was Crocker trying to appeal to the youth market, saying, we know you're just starting out and we can help.
A very utilitarian premise. You need a loan for that wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And most songwriters would have phoned it in. They would have written, come to Crocker, we have good rates.
Sure.
But Williams and Nichols wrote, we've only just begun.
We've only just begun to live white lace and promises.
A kiss for luck, and we're on our way. I mean, it is a masterpiece of optimism. They took a commercial assignment and treated it with absolute sincerity.
And that's the key, right? They didn't write down to the assignment. They didn't see it as just a jingle.
No, and Richard Carpenter of the Carpenters heard this commercial on TV.
Wow.
He literally heard the jingle while watching television, and he realized that is a hit song.
That's an amazing year.
He contacted them, the Carpenters recorded it, and it became the wedding song of the decade.
It's fascinating because it stripped away the commercial context entirely. It became a universal anthem.
Totally.
Millions of people had their first dance to a song that was technically designed to sell banking services.
It speaks to the quality of the songwriting. The emotion was so genuine that the commerce it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And looking at the charts from that era, once that door opened, Williams and Nichols just flooded the radio. It was an avalanche.
It really was. Let's run through the list because it is staggering.
Yeah.
You had Three Dog Night.
Williams wrote an old-fashioned love song, The Family of Man, and Out in the Country for Them.
I want to pause on an old-fashioned love song. The lyrics are just an old-fashioned love song playing on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
It's meta-commentary. He's writing a hit song about a hit song playing on the radio.
He was very aware of the medium. He was. He knew he was crafting radio hits. But he also infused them with this communal spirit. The Family of Man is almost a gospel song.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the Carpenters.
Of course.
Rainy Days and Mondays. I Won't Last a Day Without You. And Helen Reddy's You and Me Against the World.
I want to stop on Rainy Days and Mondays because I think that song defines his secret sauce, and it explains why he became the voice of the 70s.
Okay.
On the surface, it's easy listening, it's soft, but look at the lyrics. Just really listen to them.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever fits.
That is dark. That is clinical depression wrapped in a velvet blanket. Sometimes I'd like to quit.
Yeah.
He is talking about giving up in one of the biggest pop songs on the radio.
But the melody is so comforting. It's like a warm hug.
That is the paradox. That's the genius of it. Paul Williams took very complex, adult, slightly neurotic emotions, loneliness, alienation, the feeling of not fitting in, and he packaged them in these beautiful, accessible melodies.
Right.
He made it safe for the mainstream to sing along to their own sadness.
It's a sad banger, basically.
Before that term existed, yes, absolutely. He validated that feeling of being down.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing this while looking. Well, let's talk about the visual. He's 5'2".
Yeah.
He has this very distinct, almost cherubic face. He didn't look like a rock star.
He wasn't Robert Plant.
Yeah.
He wasn't Mick Jagger.
Not even close. And he didn't try to be. He leaned into the Hollywood Renaissance man persona. He realized that his uniqueness was an asset.
And this moves us into the mid-'70s, which really was his golden era.
He really was.
He transitioned from radio to the silver screen, and he did it with a bang.
A huge bang.
We have to talk about A Star is Born.
The 1976 version, Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson.
This was a massive production, a huge movie. And Williams wasn't just a hired gun on this. He was collaborating directly with Streisand.
Which is no small feat. I mean, Streisand is a perfectionist.
To say the least.
Yeah. Williams wrote the lyrics for the love theme, Evergreen, and Streisand wrote the music.
Evergreen. It's a powerhouse. It's not just a hit. It's a standard.
Oh, absolutely.
You hear it at elevators. You hear it at weddings. You hear it on American Idol. It's part of the cultural furniture now.
And the industry rewarded it. It won the Academy Award for Best Original Song and the Grammy for Song of the Year.
That's the pinnacle.
That is the pinnacle. But if you look at the soundtrack, Williams didn't just write the ballad.
No.
He also wrote Watch Closely Now and Hellacious Acres for Christopherson's character.
Which are rock songs. Gritty, hard-driving rock.
So within one movie, he's writing the most tender ballad of the year for Barbara and the arena rock anthems for Christox.
That's the versatility we talked about.
It is. He could channel different voices. He could find the truth in each of them.
But if A Star is Born won him the trophies, I feel like his next collaboration won him immortality.
Ooh, I know where you're going.
We have to talk about the frog.
The Muppets. This is the emotional core of the Paul Williams legacy for anyone born after 1970.
It is, and it's almost strange that a guy writing about feeling old and rainy days connected so perfectly with Jim Henson's world.
I don't know. I think it makes perfect sense.
How so?
They shared a worldview. It was a gentle, slightly melancholy optimism.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
They both understood that the world could be a hard place, but that kindness and connection were worth fighting for. Williams worked with Kenny Asher on that soundtrack, and they produced Rainbow Connection.
It was inducted into the National Recording Registry in 2020.
As it should be.
The Library of Congress said, this is culturally significant. Why? I mean, on the surface, it's a frog on a log with a banjo. It's simple.
It's the I Want song to end all I Want songs. Look at the lyrics, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. It's an invitation. It acknowledges that the world tells you magic isn't real. Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. That's the cynic's view.
But the song rejects that.
And rainbows have nothing to hide. It chooses to believe anyway. It's an act of faith. And Williams didn't stop there with the Muppets. He did the soundtrack for the Muppet Christmas Carol in 1992. When Love Is Gone is an absolute tearjerker in that film.
It is. I have to fast forward through it sometimes, and we cannot skip Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
A cult classic.
Right.
An absolute gem.
It's a staple in my house. The music in that, it's authentic Americana, it's bluegrass, it's folk. It doesn't sound like children's music.
That's because Williams never wrote down to kids. He wrote about longing, poverty, and love, just with puppets.
Yeah.
Emmett Otter's A Story About a Poor Family Trying to Make Christmas Special. The songs like Barbecue and the River Bottom Nightmare Band, they're just genuinely great compositions.
Okay, so we have the soft rock, we have the Oscars, we have the Muppets. If we stopped here, he's a legend.
Absolutely. Hall of Fame career, no question.
And the Paul Williams had this whole other side, the weird side, the cult classic side.
You were referring, of course, to Phantom of the Paradise, 1974, directed by Brian De Palma.
This movie is deranged in the best way possible.
It really is. It's a rock opera mashup of Phantom of the Opera, Faust, and The Picture of Dorian Gray. It's bonkers.
And Williams didn't just write the score, which was Oscar nominated, by the way.
Which is wild.
He starred in it. He played Swan, the evil record producer.
And he is terrifying. He's this small, soft-spoken tyrant who sells his soul for eternal youth.
Yeah.
It's such a stark contrast to the Rainbow Connection guy.
It showed his willingness to be the villain, to be unlikable.
He plays Swan with this icy, detached menace. He's wearing these flamboyant outfits, but his eyes are just dead. It proved he wasn't just a songwriter who could act. He was a legitimate actor.
He did it again in Bugsy Malone in 1976, writing the score for a gangster movie cast entirely with children.
Which is such a 70s concept, just an unbelievably strange idea. Let's make a mob movie with kids and shoot whipped cream instead of bullets.
And Williams wrote the songs. They're perfect.
And then there's Ishtar in 1987.
Ishtar, the punchline of Hollywood for decades.
A legendary flop.
The movie flopped, but the songs Williams wrote for Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty to sing as a bad lounge act.
Yeah.
They're actually comedic genius.
That is a high degree of difficulty. I mean, think about that assignment. He had to write songs that were intentionally bad, clunky lyrics, awkward rhymes, but they still had to be catchy enough to work in a movie. Dangerous Business is a masterpiece of bad songwriting.
This leads us perfectly into Section 3, the face on the screen.
Yes.
Because he wasn't just acting in his own musicals, he was a legitimate character actor. He was everywhere in the 70s and 80s.
Everywhere. Because of his size and his wit, he was the perfect foil. He could play the eccentric, the sidekick, or the surprising threat.
The most famous example has to be Smokey and the Bandit.
Little Enos Burdette.
Yes. He's wearing these loud cowboy suits, standing next to Big Enos, challenging Burt Reynolds. He holds his own against Jackie Gleason.
He understood the visual comedy. He wasn't afraid to be the butt of the joke, but his character was also rich and powerful.
He had status.
Exactly. He had status. He played Little Enos in all 3 movies. He was the catalyst for the entire plot.
But my absolute favorite acting story, and this is one of those, wait, he did that moments, involves a lot of latex.
You're talking about Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
1973. He played Virgil.
A genius orangutan.
Genius orangutan. Now, just being in the movie is funny enough.
It is.
But the story isn't just that he took the role. It's what he did to promote it.
This is legendary. February 9th, 1973. Paul Williams is booked on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson.
Prime time.
The biggest stage in television. Now, usually when a songwriter goes on Carson, you wear a nice suit, you sit on the couch, you sing your hit.
Standard procedure.
Williams spent hours in the makeup chair beforehand. He came out onto the stage in full movie-quality orangutan prosthetics.
He didn't.
Oh, he did, and he didn't break character.
Yeah.
He sat there and smoked a cigarette as an orangutan. He bantered with Johnny Carson through the mask.
That is amazing.
And then this is the kicker. He sang Rainy Days and Mondays.
As an ape.
As a sad, soulful orangutan. It was surreal. It was performance art.
It sums up his willingness to be playful, to be weird, to subvert his own image.
Totally. He didn't take himself too seriously, even though he took the work seriously.
He really was ubiquitous. I was scrolling through his IMDb credits. The Love Boat.
He wrote the lyrics to the theme song, Love, Exciting, and New. That's Paul Williams.
I had no idea.
And he guest starred on the show multiple times. Of course he did.
And then there's Babylon 5.
Season 2, he played Tack, an alien aide to an ambassador.
This one feels like a deep cut.
It is, but the source material notes a hilarious detail. His character's species had a very unique way of finalizing treaties.
Oh no, dare I ask.
They finalized agreements by having sex with the other signees.
Only Paul Williams. From white lace and promises to interspecies treaty sex.
It shows his range. And cartoons. He voiced the Penguin in Batman, the animated series.
Which is an iconic version of the Penguin. Very refined, aristocratic, but vicious.
And Professor Williams in Dexter's Laboratory.
I remember that.
And recently, he was the butcher in Baby Driver, the Edgar Wright movie.
That role in Baby Driver was genuinely menacing. He's an arms dealer. He's cold. He's staring down John Hamm and Jamie Foxx.
He is.
It reminded me that he can do dark just as well as he can do light.
But that darkness, it wasn't just acting. And this brings us to the most difficult, but perhaps most important chapter of the Paul Williams story.
Yeah.
The fall.
Yeah. We look at this list of hits, Oscars, Grammys, fame, The Tonight Show, and it looks perfect. But by the late 70s and 80s, his personal life was collapsing.
It was the era of excess, and Williams was right in the center of it. He struggled severely with alcohol and substance abuse, specifically cocaine. He has described his ego at the time as rampant. He was living the rock star life, but it was eating him alive.
There's a quote from the source material that actually scared me. He said, "Back when I was drinking, I would imagine things that weren't there, and I'd get frightened."
That is the reality of addiction that the party stories don't cover. Paranoia. Isolation. He was the sad clown in real life. He was writing these songs about connection, about the family of man, but he was losing his connection to reality.
He said in one interview that he misplaced a decade. He just lost the 80s.
He became unreliable. The hits stopped coming. The phone stopped ringing. He went from being the guy everyone wanted to the guy people were worried about.
But, and this is why we are talking about him today, he didn't die. He didn't become a tragedy. He became a survivor.
The turning point came in 1990. He finally got sober. But he didn't just stop drinking. He reinvented his purpose.
He did.
He realized that the high of fame was empty, so he went back to school.
Like university.
He went to UCLA and became a certified drug rehabilitation counselor.
Wait, so theoretically you could have gone to rehab in the 90s and your counselor could have been the guy who wrote Evergreen?
Yes. And he wasn't doing it for publicity. He wasn't doing it for a reality show. He was doing the work. He took the night shifts. He sat with people in their darkest moments.
That is incredible humility. To go from the Oscars podium to a rehab clinic in the middle of the night.
It's amazing. He co-authored a book called Gratitude and Trust. Recovery is not just for addicts. He became active with facingaddiction.org.
I saw a note here about an event on the National Mall.
That was in 2015. He and bass player Kasim Sultan led a crowdsourced anthem called Voice of Change. He stood at the base of the Washington Monument and led 10,000 people in recovery, families of addicts in song.
That is a different kind of rock star moment. That's not about look at me, it's about look at us.
Exactly. He shifted from being an entertainer to being a leader. He used his platform to destigmatize addiction, and honestly, if the story ended there, it would be a beautiful redemption arc.
It would. Former star finds peace in service.
A perfect ending. But the universe had one more plot twist.
And it involved robots.
Section 5, the resurrection. This is my favorite part of the timeline. It's 2013.
Electronic music is dominating the world. And the kings of that world are Daft Punk.
The French duo, the Robots. They are working on Random Access Memories, which would go on to be one of the most significant electronic albums ever made.
A modern classic.
And they wanted to explore the history of pop music. They didn't want samples. They wanted the real thing. They wanted the soul of the 70s.
So they called Paul Williams.
Williams has the best quote about this. He said, "Then I got sober and 2 robots called and asked me to make an album."
It sounds like a hallucination from his drinking days.
It does, but it was real. He went into the studio with them. He co-wrote a song called Beyond, and he co-wrote and sang lead vocals on a track called Touch.
Touch. We have to talk about this song. It is.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. It's 8 minutes long.
It's an odyssey.
It starts scary. It's discordant, robotic, almost glitchy.
That represents the isolation, the feeling of being a machine. But then the clouds part, and this beautiful, heartbreaking melody comes in, and it's Paul Williams' voice.
Touch, sweet touch, you've given me too much to feel.
It's a song about a robot trying to understand human emotion. And who better to sing that than Paul Williams?
Right.
A man who spent his life trying to articulate emotions, who numbed them with drugs, and then had to learn how to feel again in sobriety. It's biographical.
It brings me to tears every time. It feels like his entire life story in one song. The darkness, the confusion, and then the clarity.
The industry agreed. Daft Punk won Album of the Year at the 2014 Grammys. And because Thomas and Guy Manuel, the Robots, don't speak in public,
they sent Paul to the mic.
Imagine the scene. You have Pharrell Williams, Nile Rodgers, and these 2 guys in chrome helmets. And then 73-year-old Paul Williams steps up.
The guy from the Muppet Movie. The guy who was Little Enos.
And he delivers this incredible speech. He said, Captain Kirk uses the Enterprise. They Daft Punks. He talked about the elegance and class of the collaboration. It was the elder statesman bridging the gap to the future.
And that moment seemed to unlock a whole new career for him. He became cool again. He wasn't just oldies. He was retro cool.
He did. He collaborated with the Scissor Sisters on their album Ta-Da. He worked with Gustavo Santaolalla on the Book of Life soundtrack. They wrote the Apology song.
And Community. He was on Community.
The illegal textbook dealer. It's such a niche joke, but he played it perfectly. He refuses to buy a batch of misprinted chemistry textbooks. It's a deep cut for fans.
And looking at the notes, he is still at it. April 2025.
This is the ultimate fever dream sentence. He performed Rainbow Connection at Yo Gabba Gabba Coachella.
Excuse me.
He was on stage with Portugal, The Man, and Weird Al Yankovic.
No way.
At Coachella, singing with the Yo Gabba Gabba characters.
That proves he transcends genre. He transcends generations. He is just Paul Williams.
He also appeared in Yo Gabba Gabbaland in 2024. He loves working with kids programming. It goes back to that purity of spirit we talked about with the Muppets. He never lost that sense of wonder.
We've covered the fun stuff, but we should mention that he's arguably one of the most powerful people in the music industry, business-wise, too.
Yes. Since 2009, he has been the president and chairman of ASCAP.
Which is the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers.
It's a huge deal. In the age of Spotify, Apple Music, and AI, he is the guy fighting to make sure songwriters actually get paid.
Right.
He's testifying before Congress. He's fighting for copyright reform. He knows how hard the business can be, and he's using his twilight years to protect the next generation of Paul Williamses.
It's a serious legacy. Songwriters Hall of Fame, National Recording Registry, ASCAP president.
And he frames it all with such humility. He talks about his height, his recovery. He uses his vulnerability as a superpower. He never pretends to be something he isn't.
Except when he's an orangutan.
Except when he's an orangutan. Exactly.
So as we wrap this up, how do we summarize the man? How do we tie all these threads together?
I think we look at the trajectory. He started as a comedy writer who wanted to be loved. He became the voice of love for a generation. He lost himself in the success of it all. And then he found himself again by being of service to others.
It makes you think about the Rainbow Connection differently. Someday we'll find it. The Rainbow Connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. When he wrote that, he was chasing the rainbow. He was chasing the Oscar, the hit, the applause.
And now?
Now, I think he realized the connection isn't the award. It's the people. It's the 10,000 people on the National Mall. It's the recovering addict he counseled. It's the robots who just wanted to make art.
That's the real magic. He found the connection by getting sober and waking up. The rainbow connection might actually be clarity.
That is a beautiful thought. From the bank commercial to the robots, Paul Williams has kept us dreaming.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. If you want a homework assignment, go listen to Touched by Daft Punk, then listen to We've Only Just Begun. Marvel at the fact that they came from the same mind. And maybe, just maybe, watch Phantom of the Paradise if you're feeling brave. We'll see you next time.